Okay, Google, unlock the door on my smart mailbox.
Unlock the smart mailbox door. Your smart mailbox door has been opened.
Hello everyone, this is my presentation for my Smart Mailbox project for my Internet of Things course. So there's three main features of the Smart Mailbox. The first of which is to detect when the door on the mailbox is open. And so when the door is opened, you'll get a notification on your phone from anywhere in the world. And this is a security and a delivery purpose. So when the mail is delivered, you'll know the mail is delivered, and if it was already delivered and it's opened up again, you know, it's security purposes to see if it was stolen or not. And it also tracks the times. Um, the next feature would be unlocking and locking the mailbox. So once you get that delivery you expecting, or get the daily mail or something, you can lock it if you want and protect it once you get home. The next feature is to raise and lower the flag on the mailbox. Now this purpose is if you forget to raise it, pretty much, and there's not really any other purpose for it. It was just a cool little feature I decided to add. Another feature would be to get the temperature and humidity right outside, and I know this isn't really much of a useful feature either because you can just Google this on your phone, but again, just a feature that I wanted to include. So some of the hardware that's used in my project, we have the obviously the mailbox itself, which I stripped down, drilled lots of holes in. We have the Google Home Mini, which I am connecting to. We also have the Arduino and the Raspberry Pi. The Arduino is used on the mailbox. The Raspberry Pi is just used for my API, the broker service, MQTT, and another Python script that I have to make the Google Home say things. So I have four sensors that are vital to the project hooked up to the Arduino mailbox, and that's the door actuator on the left, then the DHT sensor for humidity and temperature sensors, or value, my bad, and then the servo motor and the magnetic door sensor. Some of the software used in my project was ngrok, and this service is run on the Pi, which is to tunnel out a connection from my API. I'm also using MQTT to connect the mailbox to the Raspberry Pi. So the Raspberry Pi and the mailbox do have to be close to each other. I wanted to use MQTT, but I also wanted to make it globally accessible, so I decided to stick with the MQTT connection between the Raspberry Pi and the Arduino. So temperatures and humidity and door opening notifications are all stored in a database on the Pi, which is the InfluxDB database. And I also use Flask, which is my REST API, and I'm using that to control a mailbox. I'm also using a service called notify.run. It was fairly hard to figure out how to get notifications on the phone for free. There's a lot of services that do it, but you only have maybe like 50 notifications or 50 API requests, and then after that you gotta pay. But I did end up finding one for free, and it's kind of a workaround, but it works really well. So what it is basically it's a web notification. So you register a channel on your Pi that you want to use. So it gives you like a channel endpoint name, and you basically go to that URL on your phone and you subscribe to that web page. So I'd be getting notifications whenever I send signals to that web page on my Pi, but Google Chrome would be giving me notifications on my phone. Another service I used is Pi Chromecast, which I use to connect to the Google Home Mini, and I use this in my Python script. Another feature I use in my Python script is the Google text-to-speech. So, and I use IFTT to pretty much recognize commands from my Google Assistant, and forward that to my API. And some requests that I want to make with the Google Assistant, Google doesn't have the actual answer for, right? So you have to pretty much go to my API, get the answer, and then it triggers the Python script to send another message back to the Google Home Mini. So basically, if I said, hey Google, like, give me the last time my door was opened, it's gonna go, okay, sure, retrieving that, but then it's gonna go to my API, figure out that out with the database, and then at that point, it's already at the IFTTT applet, so I need to actually create a script to send a command back to the Google device to tell it what to say. And I do that with the Python script I created using PyChromecast and GTTS. As I said, IFTTT, I used it to create applets, and they're basically mini if-then statements saying if something was said on the Google device, then I create a webhook and I go to my API using the ngrok URL. Next, I use two apps on my phone. At first I was using MQTT Snooper, and then Wrestler is a similar app. It's another controller that basically I send REST requests to the Pi. So before we get into the demo, here's the works cited page. And while you look at that, if you want to see more information on the API methods that I created, or if you want to see more information on the apps that I'm using on my phone, such as MQTT Snooper, Wrestler, and the applets I created on IFTTT, I have another video on my YouTube channel that is a little bit longer than this one. Just feel free to take a look at that if you want.
Okay, Google. Lower the flag on my smart mailbox.
Lowering the flag on your smart mailbox.
Okay, Google. Raise the flag on my smart mailbox.
Raising your smart mailbox flag.
Okay, Google. Lock the smart mailbox door.
Locking the door on your smart mailbox.
Okay, Google. Unlock the door on my smart mailbox.
Unlocking the smart mailbox door. Your smart mailbox door has been opened.
Okay, Google. Update the humidity and temperature on my smart mailbox.
Updating the mailbox's humidity and temperature readings.
Okay, Google. What is the current temperature and humidity on my smart mailbox?
The current temperature and humidity is 24.1 degrees Celsius and 39%.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Okay, Google. What times has the smart mailbox been opened at?
Retrieving last 5 times opened. The mailbox was last opened at the 14th of April 2020 to 19 hours, 57 minutes and 5.
So here's an example of my phone receiving notifications when my door on my smart mailbox is opened. You might hear Google in the background.
Your smart mailbox door has been opened.
But this is what it looks like. So at the top, I got notifications from the notify.run page from the Google page that I'm subscribed to. This is going to give me a notification from anywhere in the world. So here's a closer look at the smart mailbox. On the top up here, we have the Arduino command stripped to the mailbox. It's connected to several different sensors, the first of them being the servo motor. We also have it hooked up to the magnetic door sensor and the door lock actuator and its relay. Lastly, we have the DHT sensor, which is for temperature and humidity values, and a button in case the mailman doesn't have access to your API. So lastly, there's a lot of things that obviously need some consideration going into the future. One, the door lock gets very, very hot if you keep it plugged in. That's why it's unplugged right now. It gets super hot, and it's actually very dangerous. Another thing is that the door lock, it's nice, but we should probably just get a different door lock, not just because it's hot, but I mean, this thing can just be ripped open. It could just be pried open with your hand. There's no security at all, really. But it does do its purpose. And I locked it. Now I can't get in there anymore. Another thing that needs future consideration, the door lock actuator is actually electromagnetic. So it actually sets off the magnetic sensor, giving false notifications to the door opening, which is definitely another problem. Another thing that needs to be improved, lastly, is it obviously needs to be weatherproofed. This is probably very scary to look at, especially for your mailman. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, everybody. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Okay, Google, make the smart mailbox dance.
Look at these sick moves.